one of the things that's been freaking me out, I'm not trying to freak you out or nothing, right?
Yeah, no worries.
It's just like a thing of my own. I've been reading that, are you familiar with the doomsday clock or the climate clock?
Vaguely.
The climate clock.
I remember reading about it in an article and shifted it in the back of my mind because it was considered conspiracy.
It's definitely a buzzword.
Like the Mayan calendar and all that shit. Like,
oh, okay. It's a little different from that one. Although that's trippy, don't get me wrong.
Like,
I do find it fascinating.
Y2K and all that shit. I was like, after all that nonsense, I was like, okay, I can just throw this in the trash.
After Y2K, I wasn't really worried about 2012 either. But this one's a little more, I'll give credit to the Mayan calendar for even making the calendar to begin with, right?
Oh, yeah.
To know how long it takes to orbit a sun and then keep track of seasons and cycles like the solstice
with
and
rocks.
the equinoxes. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Super rocks gnarly. And trees.
Yeah. I don't think we give them enough credit, man, because
they had no lenses. They didn't know what glass was. Additionally,
I heard that part of the reason why they were obsessed with the stars is not just for timekeeping purposes, but for traveling. Cause if you know how much of a shift occurs above you while you're traveling and you know how much time has passed, you know how far you've gone. So I'm thinking that part of the reason why they're obsessed with the sky is because they were also traveling a bit, not just keeping track of time. But, I guess what I was getting at is, even though it's amazing that they were able to do that, I don't think 2012, or at least their prediction for the end of things, was accurate, especially because it was just like the end of a cycle. It wasn't really marked by any type of event, but the whole climate clock thing, that one's based on how much time we got left before climate change is irreparable. Like you can't, like the point of no return.
Like global warming and all that?
Yeah, I think it's like 7 years where we'll start seeing,
I believed in Al Gore all along.
Man, I wouldn't even put the word belief on it. I would just say I acknowledge the evidence. You know what I mean? The reason for that is once we start seeing dramatic shifts in climate, we start to see shortages in food, and shortages in food leads to conflicts, and then those conflicts snowball, and eventually people get displaced because of rising sea levels, and then population densities also mess with everything. Population density also influences how fast diseases and viruses get passed around and everything. So that also is it adds to the variables that could end humanity as we know it. So I guess what I'm getting at is that whole thing freaked me out, because that means if that's true, if I have a kid now, in 7 years, that dude's going to have to grow up yesterday.
Look, I thought we were gonna have a world war when Trump was in office, and then like I had my kid, and then it was like Trump's gonna be president. And I was like,
yeah, totally. Like I said, I wasn't trying to freak you out, but those are just my reservations behind it. But at the same time, what if you give birth to like the person that's gonna solve it all, the one that brings balance to the force, so to say? You know? Yeah, we all saw how badly that went, though.